Together we break bread. We come to the table. We have so much fucking faith in the power of food to fix everything.
Amen.
That's
CJ.
right.
But whose table is it? Who did you invite? What are you serving? Because food for centuries has been a weapon. We are living out the history of colonialism, of slavery, of subjugation. Salt has been plowed into our fields to prevent the production of food. We have exported food during famine. We have withheld food as punishment. And today we see this in a global food system intentionally keeping us stuffed and starved. We see this on our streets and in our prisons, in cities carved up by redlining, by denying services to poor Black and brown communities. And this all basically just reminds me that food deserts are not a naturally occurring phenomenon.
Yes, right.
But out of this has grown the possibility of food as a strategy for resistance.
And I need to know right now, how many of you have heard of the Black Panther Party?
Raise those hands.
I'm going to put a finer point on this. How many of you have heard of the Black Panther Party for self-defense? The original name indicates, as a Black community, we have to defend ourselves against police brutality. It also indicates that there were people needing all sorts of programs in the late 60s in this community, and the Black Panthers responded. There was free shoe program, free clothing program, free housing, free ambulance, all of these to serve the people. One of these programs that is absolutely magnificent in its concept is the free breakfast for school children program. It was started in Oakland at St. Augustine's Church, right there on Telegraph Avenue. It was run by the rank and file women of the Black Panther Party, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to cook those hot breakfasts for these children. It is amazing to me that in its time, specifically 69 to 70, 20,000 children were fed. At its peak, nationally, get this, the equivalent of the population of California was fed by this program.
And it worked. It's wild to think that of all the survival programs that the Panthers did, from the free ambulance program, the free healthcare, the shepherding seniors to their doctor's appointments and getting them home safely from the grocery store, that the free breakfast program is perhaps the program that is most successful. And we know it's successful because the state got terrified.
They sure
Then
did.
head of the FBI, Herbert Hoover, said that the free breakfast program is the most dangerous threat to national security. The most dangerous domestic threat to national security. Now why? Why could children eating breakfast every day on their way to school be dangerous to the nation state? Because they were Black and brown children. Because the state is predicated on the subjugation of Black and brown bodies, and the Panthers saw breakfast as an active tool of resistance. This act of bringing youth together to eat breakfast every day was political, inherently political, when the state has done all that they can to keep nutrition out of the hands of Black and brown communities. So the breakfast program was revolutionary. So this act of youth, of people cooking together and eating together, was a radical act, and it shook the FBI to its core. And Hoover did his best with the counterintelligence programs to bring a stop to these kids eating pancakes and grits and eggs every day.
So partially out of shame and partially in a power grab, we have breakfasts and lunches in schools throughout America. And my question is, when you get that free breakfast or that free lunch, why doesn't it come with a history lesson?
Right.
Why don't we teach kids the inspiration, the foundation, and the roots of that meal? And that's what I want to see. Why? Yes, right? Why is this history so invisible? All of us took the same streets, the same buses, the same roads to get here today as the Panthers, and there are no monuments on the way. There are no plaques on the way, right? And so if you walk with the Panther, you might be surprised at where that walk starts. For me, it started in my neighborhood in North Oakland. And it was my 91-year-old neighbor who told me the stories of what had happened on the street corner, and also of her taking a West African dance class with Ruth Beckford Smith, who started the free breakfast program at St. Augustine's. And this invisibility leads me to wonder, how is it, in the face of this erasure, do we keep it alive? And we keep it alive by cooking and doing and remembering.
That is exactly right, Sister Sita. Now, as the People's Kitchen Collective, we decided to take on honoring this legacy of the free breakfast program. And we do that. For the last 7 of the 10 years of the history of People's Kitchen Collective, we have cooked a free breakfast at Life is Living, a festival in West Oakland, and it's held at a place called DeFemery Park. This park also has the name Little Bobby Hutton Park, and I don't know if any of you know who Little Bobby Hutton is. He died yesterday. The anniversary is April 6th. He was the first recruit for the Black Panther Party, and he was 17 years old. He was one of these children. So when we cook this program, this free breakfast program at Life is Living, it matters so much. And we're so grateful we can feed 400 to 800 people at a time with this program that we do. And it's really a beautiful thing that we get to prepare it at the West Oakland Senior Center and hear those stories of the folks that held this land in the 1960s and 70s when the Black Panthers were doing everything they could to save our community.
So when we cook at a gallery, at a museum, when we show up here, it's the spirit of survival, because food has to do with physical survival, but also cultural survival. Without food, our culture cannot survive.
It is no coincidence that we don't hear about the Panthers, that the Panthers aren't taught about in our schools, that they are actively erased from our history books and from our memories, because, you know, white silence is white violence. This act
Can you
of
say
not
that one more
remembering
time?
white silence is white violence, because it's act of erasing our histories as people of color. The act of erasing our struggles and our successes in the revolution is an act of erasing ourselves. It's much like this narrative around food of farm to table. When you say farm to table, what you're doing is erasing all the in-between, all the black and brown hands that have touched the food, carried your meal from the farm to the table. So with the People's Kitchen Collective, this year we're having a meal series from the farm to the kitchen to the table, culminating a 500-person meal in the streets of West Oakland to the streets. Because for us, each of those sites are sites of resistance, sites of resilience, and sites of our people's struggles and our survival. And saying farm to table is not enough, because we are out here. And the meal can't end at the table. The meal has to carry you to the streets. Because if you're here and you believe in justice and you believe in good food, and your narrative around good food and justice does not include the farm, the kitchen, the table, and ultimately to the streets, then why are you here? Why are you eating? Why are you calling yourself a foodie? So if you're here and you believe in this, I want you to get out on the streets. People's Kitchen wants you to join us at our meals, and we want you to carry that meal that's nourished you, that's fed your soul, fed your mind, and we want it to fuel your movement. So get out on those streets.
All power.
All power to the people.